Today on Judge Faith, a tax attorney and his contractor disagree over the details of a loan repayment.
Stop talking down to me, stop belittling me, stop insulting me. When he started disrespecting me, I decided not to pay him.
So you're about to show me a contract between the two of you, something in writing.
Statute of frauds doesn't require me to.
I love how I have a tax attorney in my courtroom with the worst evidence I've probably ever seen. Don't tell me you're asking for your own fees.
And later, a Colorado mom helps her former roommate with his DUI expenses and then gets stuck with the bills.
I kept thinking in my mind that, you know, he's trying, he's gonna come up with the money.
She took the car away, so why should I pay for a car payment that was taken away from me?
If someone gets a DUI, I would never in a million years pay the fine because they have to learn their lesson about drinking and driving. That's not on you to pay that.
Plaintiff Scott Smith says the defendant had lots of problems, and he was trying to help him out. He's suing for a personal loan, unfinished work, and attorney fees. Defendant Tommy Ussery says he owes nothing because Scott asked him to do odd jobs around his home, and he worked off the money he borrowed.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Smith versus Ussery.
Thank you, Juan. Scott Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
you are suing the defendant Tommy Ussery
Correct.
for $1,950 for a personal loan, unfinished work, and attorney's fees?
That's correct.
Okay, why don't we start with you, Mr. Smith? Tell me what's going on here.
We shouldn't even be here. This is a very simple case. I needed my bathroom to be remodeled, and so I went online and looked for a couple of contractors, one of whom was Mr. Ussery. He came over, got a couple bids. He was the best bid. I liked him the most. Great. He started working. This case is not about his work in any way, shape, or form. His work was fantastic. He did a
Really?
great job.
Okay.
So
Are you a contractor?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you do? And you were remodeling his bathroom?
Correct.
Okay, and so you didn't know him?
No.
Prior to you hiring him. How did you find him?
Craigslist.
Okay.
That's where we find everything. I'm an attorney full-time.
Okay.
And part-time, I buy rental proproperties.
What kind of law do you practice?
Tax law. I'm a tax transactional attorney.
All right. So you're about to show me a contract between the two of you.
See?
Something in writing.
You would
right?
think so.
About this loan?
Did
you say you gave him?
One might think so, except number one
I know you know the law.
Yeah, the statute of frauds doesn't require me to, though.
No, it's not required, but it certainly helps when it comes to your burden of proof,
I
doesn't
agree.
it?
I agree.
What was the conversation you had with the defendant about the money you say you loaned him?
Okay, here's what happened. He's 2/3 of the way through this job. He came in late a couple times, and I said, hey, you know, what's the story? Why are you later? And he says, look, I had to go deal with the pawn shop. He had to pawn things to get cash out to pay people. And that's fine. I mean, everyone has their vehicle through which they get money however they need to get it. I said, is this what's holding you up? He said, yeah, I gotta go and pay them and kind of play this game with them. And he said, by the way, they're charging me a ridiculous interest rate, as they do, you know, pawn shops do. I said, fine. Why don't I just lend you the $1,500, you pay them off, and then instead of you paying this 20% or whatever the ridiculous loan was, do a couple jobs around my house for interest, and we'll be done. He says, fine, look, here's the deal. Give me the $1,500 now, I'll give you $500 a week for the next 3 weeks as these other jobs close out, and we're fair and square. So I said, fine, you go work other jobs as well. Come over to my house, do what you need to do.
Go work those other jobs.
Get the money from that and pay me back.
$500 a week.
For the next 3 weeks.
Okay, let me ask you something. When he gave you this $1,500, did you ever go back and finish the work in the bathroom?
Every time I went back, I had to do the jobs that he required for interest.
But I'm just asking
Those
you,
came
from
before
that
the
day
bathroom
to
got
this
finished.
day, from that day to this day.
I went back to finish. He had other things for me to do instead of finish.
Oh, instead of the bathroom, you did other work around the house.
I went back a couple times. He had a clogged drain. I went back. He said, you know what? I'd rather have the timer hooked up for the pool lights.
At some point, you stopped going over there.
Yeah.
Right? And this relationship ended. Why is that?
That Monday, he said, will you pay me Friday? I said, sure. I'm thinking it's a $500 payment Friday. Well, when Wednesday comes around, I get a text that evening telling me, you gonna be here Friday to pay me? I said, sure am. And then he says, all 1,200? I was like, all 1,200? I'm 7 short, you know? You wanted 5 at first, but now you're calling in all of it a day before? Because
So that's
Friday,
why you
don't
stopped
expect
going
to
over
see
there
me.
because you didn't have the money to pay him?
No, because then when Friday came along, I was out trying to work extra jobs to get him all of it, doing as best that I could to get it all for him. Saturday morning came around, and I woke up to a text saying, no wonder people think what they think about you, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, more or less talking down to me. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then, you know,
So that was the disrespect you said.
I told him, I said, don't
you.
talk down to me and I will pay you. I've told him that every text I've sent him. Stop talking down to me, stop belittling me, stop insulting me, and I will pay you.
But you know, the best way. You know the best way to stop someone from texting you or talking down to you, as you say, is to just pay them the money that you owe.
And I have no problem doing that until you say or else, and then I say
or else. Or you mean he threatened you?
He said or else I'll take you to court. I said see
or
you in
else
court.
he'll take
He
you
taught
to court.
me that.
Or else he'll take you to court. That's not a threat, sir. That's that he's just saying he will exercise his right
That's
to
correct.
pursue this legally.
And I will see you there.
Okay, so what is your defense then? Your defense is you felt like he insulted you.
Coming up, the issue of interest on the loan is called into question.
There wasn't a specified amount of
There was a
interest.
specified amount.
I just asked you how much interest, and you said there's no set amount. So how does he know how much work he's supposed to be doing for how much interest on this loan?
And later, Colorado roommates battle over unpaid bills.
So he was down on his luck. He didn't have a place to live, and he wasn't working. How are you expecting him to pay $600 a month?
Because he just got a job.
Plaintiff Scott Smith says Tommy took advantage of their friendship. He's suing for a personal loan, unfinished work, and attorney fees. Defendant Tommy Ussery says he owes nothing because Scott was disrespectful.
When you went back and you were doing things around his house, was the agreement that work would be to pay off this $300 in interest he was charging you?
There wasn't a specified amount of
There was a
interest.
specified amount. Actually, some of those jobs that I was doing.
I want to make sure I understand this. So he was supposed to do work around the house to pay off what exactly?
Instead of paying the 25% interest that he's paying every week or every month at the pawn shop.
You asked him to do extra things around your house in exchange for interest on the loan that you gave him.
Right.
I just asked you how much interest, and you said there's no set amount.
We've had a very, 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 it was very, everything was very informal.
You're a tax attorney. You deal with numbers all day. You can't even tell me how much interest you were charging him so he could know how much interest he's working off?
I'm saving him money no matter what he does.
One thing that I am concerned about, do you have a proof that you paid someone? How did you pay this receipt that you gave me? Because this is a computer printout.
Right.
Computer-generated document.
I always get cash when I can, so it's probably cash.
I love how I have a tax attorney in my courtroom with the worst evidence I've probably ever seen. You have no written contract for this loan.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And Mr. Smith, you know you come into court and tell me it's not required by law. Of course, it's not required. Oral contracts are completely enforceable, but you have the burden of proof in your case, so you're just fortunate enough that he came in and said, hey, well, you know, he did loan me the money.
May I interject 1 second? May I approach?
No. And then you want money for attorney's fees. Sir. Don't tell me you're asking for your own fees.
100%.
You understand that this is small claims court.
I understand exactly
right?
where we
So
are.
you cannot be represented by an attorney when you come in here. Just because you are an attorney doesn't mean you can charge for yourself, sir. When did this contractor finish your bathroom?
2 months ago, maybe? I let it sit for a while. That he could have come by and done it anytime he wanted to.
And on the flip side of that, sir, you admit that you didn't finish up painting the baseboards and all the trim in the bathroom, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, okay, and so based on the evidence, you're the one that stopped the communication when he started asking you to pay him back all of the money, and if you didn't have it or you felt like he was disrespecting you, that's not a legal defense for you not paying back money that's due to the plaintiff. So how much of the $1,500 did you pay back?
I
How much did he pay back, sir?
$100-something.
$300 total.
You can't, Mr. Smith, have someone working around your house for interest without telling them how much that interest is going to be. Because as you know, there's only a certain amount of interest you can charge for personal loans. See, you know it. You know the law. Based on all the testimony I've heard here today, sir, and your admission in court that you borrowed this money and agreed to pay it back, you're going to have to pay back the plaintiff. I find your defense of him disrespecting you to be insufficient. $1,200, that's how much you owe on the loan, in addition to the $250 he paid to have the bathroom finished. That's a total judgment in the plaintiff's favor in the amount of $1,450. Good luck to both of you.
Thank you. I think the judge was fair. I'm a little disappointed that she didn't give me attorney's fees.
It was fair. I mean, I knew it wasn't legal to tell him that just because he disrespected me, I wasn't going to pay him, but If you tell me or else, show me the or else.
Plaintiff Robin Gray says she loaned the defendant money because she was trying to help him out. She's suing for back rent, phone bills, food, car damages, and car payments. Defendant Mike Gomez says he doesn't know because Robin is a scam artist with a history of extorting money from her roommates, and there is no agreement in writing.
Robin Gray,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are suing the defendant Mike Gomez
Yes.
for $8,399. You say he owes you for several things: back rent, food, household expenses, phone bills. You say you paid his probation, you paid for car damages, you've paid car payments for him, and it's totaled over $8,000 over the last few years, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, why don't you tell me how you know the defendant and what's going on here?
Approximately about 2012, a mutual friend of ours called and asked about him needing a roommate, asking me if I needed a roommate. And he was just down on his luck, so I agreed to say, come on, yeah, you can rent my basement. I give you a few months to get on your feet, and then you got to start paying rent. Well,
Who was living with you at the time?
me and my children,
How many children?
2.
How old
Two.
are they?
They're 11 and 9.
Okay.
And during the time, he was having a hard time down on his luck. He was between jobs. He'd work.
What's in the basement? A bedroom or a total separate living area?
Just a unfinished basement. We put down a bed. I made sure there was bed, there was cable, there was couches. He still had
And
to
you
come
weren't at all
upstairs.
concerned about a man you don't know moving into your house with your 2 young kids?
The mutual friend that we had, I've known for years and really trusted that, and
You
we
trusted
were,
your mutual friend?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what was the agreement in terms of rent?
that he would pay for rent, food, personal items,
How much a month?
$600 a month.
Okay, and did you put that in writing or was this just a verbal agreement?
At the time, I did not put it in writing. It was a verbal agreement.
Okay, so tell me what was going on with you at the time.
At the time, I did have a job.
What were you doing for work?
I was a supervisor at a warehouse.
At any point did you fall behind on your rent?
Yeah, I did.
And that was in
That was-
2013?
Yes.
So in 2013, at this point, he's falling behind on his rent. He doesn't have a lot of money. He's up and down in the job market. Am I correct? How do you then loan him over $2,800 for a cell phone bill, the home phone bill? You pay his probation he was arrested for a DUI?
Yes, ma'am.
You pay that as well, you claim. You pay over $1,900 for damages to his car. I just don't understand why you say you're lending him all of this money when this is clearly someone who's broke.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the former roommates find out the hard way not to mix money with friendship.
I was trying to help him out, and he was good with my kids, and he was really good. I really thought it was gonna really work out.
If he wasn't working, how are you expecting him to pay $600 a month?
Plaintiff Robin Gray says Mike is a user who owes her money. She's suing for back rent, phone bills, food, car damages, and car payments. Defendant Mike Gomez says he doesn't owe because Robin is trying to extort money from him.
So he was down on his luck. He didn't have a place to live. And he wasn't working. How were you expecting him to pay $600 a month?
Because he just got a job. That's why I gave him 2 months to sit there and try to get on his feet so that he could eventually pay me.
Okay.
He did start paying, but at the time, he ended up being 2 to 3, 4 months behind because I was trying to help him out. And he was good with my kids, and he was really good. I really thought it was gonna really work out.
What happened with the DUI?
I got stopped for DUI.
Yeah,
I did.
okay.
Well, I did 30 days in jail, and then I had to pay fines.
You pled guilty to the DUI?
I did.
Was this
And-
your first DUI?
Yeah, second one.
The second one?
Yes.
You spent 30 days in jail. Was your license taken away?
It was.
And why did you pay the fines?
Because I figured if he worked and got on his feet, that he would pay me. And so I kept thinking in my mind that, he's trying, he's gonna come up with the money, he's going to. When he got the DUI, I thought, okay, if I help get his license back, that means he can go to work, that means he can pay me.
If someone gets a DUI, I would never in a million years pay the fine for them. You know why? Because they have to learn their lesson about drinking and driving. That's not on you to pay that. Why would you pay that? It's his second DUI. His second DUI, he's in jail. You pay your own fine.
Right.
What happened with the car? What's your reason now for loaning him money for a car? It's 2015 at this point. He hasn't paid you back. It's not your responsibility to find a way for him to be able to go to work. He's a grown man. You have 2 children. The reason why I'm coming down on you about this is because you have 2 kids that you have to take care of, and you cannot take the responsibility for a grown man for over the course of over 2 years. He doesn't have a steady income or a steady job. And he gets a DUI. He's drinking. He has time to hang out with his buddies. Once I could understand you helping him out, but continuing to do this, you have to own some of the responsibility of this for yourself. How does he owe you $215 for a loan and the check bounced?
He wrote me a check, and he stopped payment, and it bounced, yes.
Why'd you do that?
She took the car away, so why should I pay for a car payment that was taken away from me?
So when were you going to send her the money for the other $2,400 that you acknowledge you owe? That was the next check you were going to write?
No, I told her that that what I can afford is I can give her $100 a month, and she didn't want to go. She just said no. You know, I'm offering to pay it back.
Yeah.
That's what I can afford. So
and she's turning it down. She's told you, I don't want you to pay me $100 a month. That's not good enough. So in your mind, to you, that says, looks like I'm good.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
She's turning down the money. At this point, you are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Okay.
No, I
That's
never
what you're
said
thinking?
that.
Because
No.
if she said that to you, you know why she said that to you? Because she's telling you that's not enough. That's not enough of an effort. Did you tell him that?
I didn't. I told him that it's not enough of money to pay.
Look at there.
So,
So what you gonna do, Mr. Gomez? You owe her money. What's your defense for not paying it?
I was offering to give her
Have you
what I
given her
could.
any money since you stopped the payment on this check?
No, I haven't.
There you go. Doesn't look like you're paying it, sir. Doesn't look like you're even trying to pay it. The last attempt you made to give her money, you stopped payment on the check. So here's what we're gonna do. Obviously, you're not gonna be awarded over $8,000 here today because you know you already made the agreement, right? We're here today because you haven't lived up to your part of the agreement, and that's what I'm here to deal with. You understand?
Right.
Okay. Now, what you want to do is you want me to go back through 2 years of household expenses, food, phone bills. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to deal with the things that we dealt with in court today because, you know, you have to take some responsibility in this as well because at some point when someone is not paying you back and you keep giving them money and you say, oh, because I want him to continue working, you have to make a judgment call, right? This is someone who has a debt. He's not paying it back. I should not be giving him more money. So you have to take your part and your responsibility in this too, because as they say, you don't throw good money after bad. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So here's what we're going to do. The 2 expenses that we covered here today that he concedes he owes for, one of those being back rent and includes the household expenses because the way you lump the rent together, and the second being the fine for the DUI. So I'm going to award you a judgment today, ma'am, for a total of $2,400. Judgment for the plaintiff, $2,400. Good luck.
I want to say to Mike that I hope you learn that you can't take advantage of people and of good gestures, and I hope that you do better in your own life.
Sorry for whatever happened, and it is, you know, for the outcome and everything, and I'm glad you're happy with what you got.
An aunt accuses her niece of taking her tablet and then dodging her when she demanded it back.
Your Honor, this got ridiculous. She was calling me, and then her daughter started calling me. Her mama called me. She said it was at her grandmother's. So I walked the 4 doors down to her grandmother's. I text her, Tammy, the tablet's not there. She called me back and called me everything but a child of God at that point.
You called 911?
Yes, that was just
You know there's 311 for non-emergency calls.
Well, but I was just
it was
trying
an emergency to you.
Plaintiff Vicki Jackson says her niece borrowed an extra tablet and cell phone. and now is refusing to give them back. She's suing for the value of her tablet and cell phone. Defendant Tammy White says she owes nothing because she was given the tablet and cell phone as a replacement for the phone her aunt accidentally destroyed. She's countersuing for harassment, slander, and defamation of character.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Jackson versus White.
Thank you, Juan. Vicki Jackson,
Yes.
you were suing the defendant Tammy White
Correct.
for $300, the value of a tablet and cell phone.
Yes.
And you were countersuing, ma'am, for $1,500 for harassment, slander, and defamation of character.
That's correct.
I understand that Miss White is your niece?
Yes.
Your brother's daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so give me some background. What has your relationship been like with your niece prior to this lawsuit?
We were fine. We had no issues. We got along great.
Okay, what do you have to say about that?
Growing up, even though her mother stayed 3 doors down from me, literally my house, another house, their house, there wasn't like any strong like ties or anything, and she wasn't even staying there initially. Every now and then they would help out with anything that they had just because they knew the type of lifestyle my father and my mother lived. Once she did come over there,
What do you mean by that?
Well, my mother, they both were victims of substance abuse.
Did you grow up with your parents in the same household?
Oh, well, my father was in and out of prison, and my mama was in and out the streets, but I grew up with my grandmother. My grandmother raised me.
Okay. So let me ask you, how did the two of you end up working together?
I
at
actually employed
your
her.
job? What happened?
Both jobs.
So what were you doing for a living at the time?
I was actually distributing the government phone up under the it's like a phone program for people who can't afford it.
Okay.
So what we would do is distribute them. Initially, I was working for one company, and I had an opportunity to bring her in. But once I left that company, I told her, like, look, they supposed to take your money up, and then you can start your own team.
So what do? You set up a tent.
Basically, just a tent, and allow people who have different like government programs, and as long as they qualify, the phone is free.
And they get a phone, but how do you make money?
Well, the government pays us just basically to, process a phone per phone.
Okay, and how much do you make per phone? $7 per phone.
Yes,
That's
and
how you get your commission.
Correct, and it was strictly commission. And basically, you build your team.
When you brought her on your team, when she would actually distribute phones, did you get commission from
Yes,
her
ma'am.
distribution? How much commission?
It was $2.
Okay, so you would get $7 for the phone you distributed, and you would get $2 commission
Off hers, and she would get
off
5.
of hers,
Correct.
and she would get 5. So it would benefit you to have people working under you on your team. Okay, so what was it like when the two of you were working together?
Tammy never received any money for me working up under her because I came in up under the manager who actually gave me $7
Your
per
Honor,
phone.
that's incorrect.
Okay, but when you started, at any point were you under Miss White's team and she was getting a commission from the phones you distributed?
No, ma'am.
At no point whatsoever?
At no point.
There's a point to this because I read your papers and I want to get clarification.
Yes.
But what happened? You say that she thought she was going to get a $2 commission from you and she was upset because she didn't?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
When I talked to my manager, he said, you come up under me, I'll start you with 7. So quite naturally, I said yes to the 7. No one would want to get paid 5 when you can actually get paid 7.
And she was upset, why? Because you came in as an independent contractor, not as a member of her team?
Yes.
Okay, is that true?
No, Your Honor. Could you please ask her the amount of her first check?
No.
Well,
No, I
her
just
first
want you
check
to tell-
was $20.
Okay.
And that was for 4 phones. If she was getting paid $7, 4 times 7 is 28.
Did at some point, according to you, the story you're telling me, she become her own independent contractor getting
At the end.
$7?
True. That's
Okay,
yes.
you say it was at the end.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
then she's no longer working under your team. My question for you is, did you know that she was going to go to the manager and have a conversation with the manager and stop working under your team?
No, ma'am.
And start working on her own? Were you upset about that?
I was upset about that just because that's not how the protocol goes.
She went over your head.
That's correct.
And spoke to somebody else.
That's
and
correct.
Did the two of you have a falling out behind that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's get to the lawsuit. What do you say happened?
She borrowed my tablet and my phone and refused to give it back.
Tell me the circumstances of that.
On June 24th, we had a meeting. She couldn't find her phone. When she came back, she said, Auntie, you seen my phone? I was like, no, go look in the car. It's pouring down rain when we run into the meeting. We get back to my car after the meeting, her phone is laying on the ground in the rain. She gets the phone, she go to the phone store, They said it'll take 3 or 4 days before we can send you a new phone. She said, Auntie, may I borrow your other phone? I was like, yeah, you can borrow it. She came back, she said, I can't do what I need to do because the phone is not strong enough.
What do you mean it's not up to date in terms of
no,
data?
it just don't have enough data to hold the apps and everything that she needed.
Okay.
So to use the hotspot for the phone and use the tablet, she could do everything she needed to do.
Because do you guys use your phone, your personal phones a lot for work?
I do.
She do. I use a tablet.
Okay,
So
what kind
with
of tablet
the
is
tablet
it?
and the phone, it's a Samsung. With the tablet,
What was the conversation that she had with you about the tablet?
well, it was like she's gonna use the phone for the hotspot and the tablet to do what she needed to do.
What did she say to you? How'd you end up giving that to her?
She was just saying, well, can I use your little tablet till my phone and stuff get in?
According to you, she has to borrow this
Yes,
tablet.
until her stuff came in, which would take about 3 to 4 days. When I asked her, after that time had passed, she said it was at her grandmother's. So I walked the 4 doors down to her grandmother's, and me and her grandmother look on the porch to see
You asked
was
her
it there.
what?
I asked her where was my tablet, where was my belonging.
What was her response to that?
Oh, she called me back and called me everything but a child of God at that point.
Why?
That's Tammy.
No, your reaction to that must be, what are you talking about? Why are you upset? I just asked you about my tablet. You said it was at your grandmother's house.
She said it was at the grandmama. She told me don't go down there, don't bother her grandmother. I mean, just
So
all
she had
kind of
told you
stuff.
not to go down there.
Yeah, but this is after I done went down there. She told me don't go down there no more, and I haven't.
Okay, so what's going on?
Coming up, miscommunication adds more confusion to the family drama.
We're in my car. We're pulling off when I look for my phone.
Hold on a second. She tells you she has taken your phone and put it in her car. Now you're telling me she tells you as you're driving away. Which one is it, Miss White?
Plaintiff Vicki Jackson says she loaned her niece the phone and tablet. She's suing for the value of her tablet and cell phone. Defendant Tammy White says she owes nothing because her aunt gave her the tablet and phone. She's countersuing for harassment, slander, and defamation of character.
Your Honor, can we go back to the beginning? Initially, she did give me the tablet, but okay, I was taking down the tent because the tent is big, and I was allowing, because she always struggles with the tent. So I pulled the tent out from the table, and my phone is on the table. I'm allowing her to take down the tables and stuff while I take down the tent. Now, I'm looking for my phone, but this is before we leave. She said, I put it in my car. I said, well, don't worry about it, because I don't want to be late for the meeting.
Wait. Why would she take your phone and put it in her car?
Because she was taking down the table.
Okay, but you're there. Why would she take your phone and put it in her car?
Because she was putting the stuff in the car. We was trying to go to a meeting. I can't use my phone in a meeting anyway. So if you say out your mouth that you put my phone in your car,
So then
and
you go and get in your car without your phone?
We're in my car. We're pulling off when I look for my phone.
Hold on a second. So she tells you she has taken your phone that you use for work to make your living, and she has taken that phone and put it in her car. And you're telling me that the two of you then go get into your car to go to this meeting, wherever it is, and it's your testimony that you decided to leave your phone in her car that day?
That's correct, because we're coming back to the car.
No, I don't believe that.
And that's
I don't believe
the truth. Because when I realized I didn't have my phone, we're already at the red light. And she said, well, I put your phone in my car.
No. You told me that she told you while you're taking down the tent that this is what you said. You told me as you were taking down the tent, you have things in your hand, and she's telling you, I put your phone in my car. You said that's what she said. Now you're telling me she tells you as you're driving away. Which one is it, Miss White?
Okay, so we get in the car. We're in a plaza. The light is here. Maybe 2 minutes, not even a 2-minute drive. And I'm looking for my phone. She says, I put it in my car.
That's not what you told me. That is not what you told me. How did you get her phone and tablet in your possession?
Right, she didn't admit, I looked for my phone once we got to the light. She tells me that she put it in her car. I'm like, okay. I didn't turn around because I'm trying to get to the meeting on time. That's why I didn't worry about my phone.
What happened?
What she says, we in the car, she's like, yeah, I only did 4 phones. I'm gonna go get my $20 check, but $20 is better than no dollars. I'm like, yeah, that's true, because she only worked one day.
What happened with the phone when you say you got back to your car,
We got back,
ma'am?
her car was here, my phone was next to her passenger side on the ground. This is the same place on the passenger side where the bag of phones she put in the car, the table, tent, everything is right there on that same side. And my phone is on the ground. and it's face down. I haven't been in her car.
So you say she dropped your phone and it rained and it rained and it ruined
and
your
my phone was ruined. And she said, I have my old phone. She gave me the phone. The phone don't work. So I'm like, well, at least I can use my hotspot. I said, Auntie, can I use that tablet? She said, you can use it. I never heard nothing else about this tablet or this phone.
But she said you could use it.
Yes.
So she didn't say, here's this tablet. I'm giving this to you as a gift because I ruined your phone? Because that's what you said in your answer.
She did. She was just like, you know, you can use this, but it never came back up.
That's two totally different things, Miss White.
She let me use her tablet, but the tablet never came up.
Why are we here? Why have you not given these things back to her?
Because this is ridiculous. She messed up my phone. I had to get a new phone.
Okay, so she's giving you this tablet and this other phone, and she's now asking for it back. Why do you think you shouldn't give those things back to her?
Because the thing came up with the check.
What check?
The second check. Because the first check I got commission from.
Okay, and that's where this all comes back full circle. That's where this all comes back full circle. Because what happens is in July, which is why I wanted to know about this earlier, because this all happens with the phone in June. In July is when you find out that she has gone, according to you, to the manager. And she has now become an independent contractor. As you said, she broke protocol and you're upset about it.
And
so at that point, you decide you're not going to give her back this tablet. You know she wants it because she's calling you about it. You know she wants it.
She wasn't calling me then. Well, that's what I'm saying. At first, she was not calling me, period, about anything.
Well, actually, no. There are text messages from July. But that's
when a check came. That was after the check came out.
Ma'am, what happens in July when it's the first time you start asking about this tablet and this phone?
I said, Tammy, did you get your phone back? She says, yes. My stuff, she said, was at her grandmother's.
And who called the police?
I called the police.
Coming up on Judge Faith, did Vicky break protocol or is Tammy just playing by her own rules?
Anybody our age now, our phone is like a magnet. And so if I can't find my phone, I'm looking for it.
This was your way for payback. This was the one thing that you had to keep of hers, and that's what you did.
Plaintiff Vicky Jackson says her niece is being difficult. She's suing for the value of her tablet and cell phone. Defendant Tammy White says she owes nothing because her aunt left Tammy's cell phone in the rain. She's countersuing for harassment, slander, and defamation of character.
Okay, let me hear the phone call to the police. When was this?
The police call was on 7/20.
July 20th, and why did you call them?
Because she still wouldn't reply to give me my tablet back, to give me any of my stuff back. So I'm thinking if I get the police involved, she would just hand it back to me. She still did.
Not Miss White. Let's hear the phone call, July 20th.
And so you're having a disagreement with your niece?
Yeah, she has my tablet. She's had it over a month and will not return it. Will not answer.
How old is she?
20. She may be 30.
Any drugs, alcohol, or weapons?
She smoked marijuana. Still not coming to the door, but I know she's here.
All right, so where are you going to be to meet with the officers? You going to be waiting outside the building, or?
I'm outside the building. My mom is in a handicapped van parked right behind her.
You called 911?
Yes, that was just an
You know
attempt.
there's 311 for non-emergency calls.
Well, but I was just trying to...
It was an emergency to you?
Yeah, trying to get her to just come out, hand me my stuff so I can go about my business.
What is your counterclaim about?
Because, Your Honor, this got ridiculous. She was calling me, like, early in the morning. I drive for Uber, too. So I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning getting on Uber. I come home about 6. I'm trying to go back to sleep before I go to work there at 9. She called my phone. First she called about the tablet. All right, cool. And then her daughter started calling me. I'm gonna call somebody from Uber Corporate. You ain't gonna lose your job. Her mama called me.
So, Miss White, do you know the easiest way to resolve that is to give her back the tablet?
And like, it's just, no, I don't think that's fair. I had to get a whole new phone. Anybody our age now, our phone is like a magnet. And so if I can't find my phone, I'm looking for it.
Which is why I don't believe your story that she told you she put that phone, Miss White, don't interrupt me, that she told you she put the phone in her car before you all left to go to the meeting because you would have gotten it before you left to go to the meeting. Where's the tablet and the phone?
The tablet and the phone is right here.
May I see those, please, Juan?
And my phone is worth $600 and something, but your tablet is $100 for the 3, and that's not even a 3.
But it's mine. Just return it.
I mean, that's cool, Auntie, but what about when I lost wages from not being able to work?
Here's what I think happened. Here's what I know happened. First of all, I do not believe for 1 second that the phone that you use so much for work, that you would just leave it in her car while you went to a meeting. The second thing is, and this is really the most problematic part about your testimony today, you told me that when she gave you the tablet, she said, you can use this. I know, and you know, that she expected to get that tablet back, and you expected to give it back to her at some point. But what happened was the two of you fell out because of work, and you say you lost money because she decided to go over your head and talk to the manager, and you lost commission from her phone distributions. That's when you decided you were keeping the tablet, Ms. White. That's when you decided that these items were now going to be yours. And to really top it off, you knew that she was so upset about it and she wanted it, so this was your way for payback. This was the one thing that you had to keep of hers, and that's what you did.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
Can you show me your text messages, please?
Okay.
I have these as well. The text messages from her and her daughter texting me about losing my job.
Let me see those text messages. Well, you're not responding to any of her text messages to you.
No,
you don't
ma'am.
respond once. What are you talking about? You gave me these things. What are you saying? Why are you asking for these things?
I spoke to her in person. I didn't
You
text her.
ignored the text messages.
I spoke to her in
ma'am.
person on more than one occasion, actually.
She's texting you, her daughter's texting you, asking for the tablet. Not once do you
Because I
respond.
spoke to a police and he told me not to respond and just keep my records.
Would
so
you
that's
give
what
those
I did.
items to her, please? They're her items. Not once do you respond. Do you reply
Because
and say,
he told me not to respond.
Yeah,
he told
we're
me
done.
to just
We're done. Your counterclaim for harassment and slander and defamation is dismissed because all I see here are text messages trying to get the phone
what about
back
me
from
losing
you.
my job from Uber and her doing all her
Your
daughter
case
doing
is
all that extra
dismissed,
stuff?
ma'am. Judgment in this case for the plaintiff. You have your items.
It's broken, Your Honor.
Ma'am, you have those items back. You have no proof of what it looked like before you gave it to her. Judgment in this case for the plaintiff.
Well, I really feel like she was okay. I should have gotten something for my phone and tablet being broken. She broke it before she gave it back, but
As long as she stopped calling me and her daughter and mama, as long as they leave me alone, I'm not really worried. I still work. I still make more money than her. She can cry about it.
An Ohio business owner confronts the employee who put her cleaning company in jeopardy.
We hire a lot of people that have just come out of jail, and we try to help them get back into society.
I wasn't fired, I quit.
He was the reason I lost 2 or 3 of my contracts.
I did not forge the paperwork, my co-worker did.
I don't really care who signed the name. The two of you were in this together.
And later, an Atlanta investor demands the barber who failed to keep his shop open pay back a loan plus 40% interest.
Did you go to court on this case prior to today?
I didn't know anything about that. I'm not aware of a court date.
I filed the paperwork and he didn't respond within that time frame, so I filed my default judgment.
You're clueless. You don't know about any of this.
Plaintiff Connie Oates says the defendant wrecked a company van and failed to show up for work. She's suing for loss of revenue and van costs. Defendant Troy York says he doesn't know because Connie was paid back for the van and she's trying to take advantage of him. He's countersuing for his last paycheck.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Oates versus York.
Thank you, Juan. Connie Oates,
Yes, that's correct.
you were suing the defendant Troy York
Yes, that's correct.
for $884 for loss of revenue and van costs.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $500 for payment for your last paycheck?
Correct.
I assume you used to work for the plaintiff?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we start from the beginning, Ms. Oates? Tell me what's going on here.
Okay, I own a janitorial business. Troy is a past employee of mine. He was one of my top employees. He specializes in cleaning floors. I have chain stores that we clean the floors in.
Tell
My
me what
husband
happened.
actually met Troy. He was in CTF.
What is
in
that?
downtown Toledo. It's where they go after they've been incarcerated.
Okay.
My husband speaks for AA groups, Alcoholic Anonymous and drug rehab centers, and this is where he met Troy and told him at that time that I was looking for some employees.
Okay, so you were sort of in a halfway house at the time?
It was more like AA,
Okay, what had you been in prison for?
burglary,
You went to prison for burglary. How long were you in jail?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. You get out, and you're now in this program that helps inmates sort of reacclimate themselves into society.
Yes, but
And-
I'm already completed that. I completed it before I started.
So you've completed the program, and you meet her husband, and the two of you talk about employment.
Yes,
And this was your first job in a number of years?
yes,
Because you had served your time and you were out now.
correct.
Do you often hire?
I do quite often. We hire a lot of people that are going through rehabilitation, that have just come out of jail. A lot of people through my husband's church, a lot of people through my church.
Okay.
And we try to help them get back into society. This is very limited part-time work. We work early mornings and late nights, which give them all day to try to find other employment. We try to tell people, use me as a stepping stone. Work well with me. That way I can give you a good referral so that you can better yourself.
That sounds like a good program you have going on there to help people start at work again. It's great. You were paying him by the hour?
I pay per store because it's considered more piecework. They go from one store to another store. They have 1 hour to do a sweep mop up in a store. He was one of my best employees. He would go do a 2-person job alone.
Okay. So you were doing good work.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't judge you by
No.
your past, the fact that you were a convicted felon coming right out of jail, because some people would,
Yes.
Right.
but you feel like they didn't?
No.
Okay. So what ends up happening, Miss Oates? Why are we here today?
Actually, mid-year this year, I started having problems receiving calls saying that Troy was having problems in the stores.
Okay.
His performance was not up to par. He was acting like he really didn't care about the jobs, about how the stores looked, which the managers were questioning me because they weren't used to this out of Troy.
What was going on?
The gentleman that I have working with Troy is actually autistic. He has the mentality of a 14-year-old. So Troy basically trained him, and I keep him working with Troy 99% of the time.
How old is he?
He's 25. I believe he just turned 25.
Did
Early.
anything happen that is what she's saying true? She started getting complaints about you and she called you in to talk about it?
No, she never told me there was complaints in the store.
Oh, you never heard about
No.
that? Prior to you being fired?
No. I wasn't fired, I quit.
He was the reason I lost 2 or 3 of my contracts.
How was that? What happened?
I received numerous calls from corporate on one of my buildings saying that Troy didn't show up. Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Coming up, Troy's job performance goes from bad to worse.
You received calls from the store that he did not do the work, and that was for 3 different stores.
Well, it ended up being over 14 stores.
And later, a failed business brings former associates to court.
I was told by the city of Atlanta I had to wait 45 days. If he didn't respond within that 45 days, I could file my default judgment.
You were given paperwork and a court date, right?
Yes.
And did you go to court on that date?
No, I didn't
Why?
go.
Plaintiff Connie Oates says Troy disappeared because his lies were catching up to him. She's suing for loss of revenue and van costs. Defendant Troy York says he doesn't know because Connie was paid back for the van. He's countersuing for his last paycheck.
This person you were working with forged signatures on the work orders.
Yes.
And he would forge those signatures to submit those work orders to show that the work was done when it wasn't, right?
Yes.
But you were obviously in this together. I don't really care who signed the name. The two of you were in this together. You're an accomplice. To me, you're just as responsible. You're just as culpable. Were you too busy? Were you overworked? What was going on? Why were the two of you doing this all of a sudden?
Overworked and overslept. I only got 4 hours of sleep, if that.
Why? What were you doing?
Doing the stores.
What about from 8 a.m.
But does
till
it not
8
only
p.m.?
take you an hour to do per every store? 1 hour per store, as
Yes,
she said?
but they travel all over Ohio, and some of them are like 3-4 hour drive. You know.
So you would drive 3 to 4 hours to do 1 hour's work?
Yes.
Is that true?
My furthest store is an hour and 20 minutes away.
And would he have to drive there every day?
Once a week.
I would go out of town 2 or 3 times a week.
Correct.
How would he get there?
I provide the vans and the equipment for them to go do these stores with.
And so when they travel, if they go to a store that's an hour away, do they get paid for travel time?
They do.
So
No,
they get paid.
That's not correct.
Instead
That's
of getting
not true.
paid, instead of getting paid $9 for a 1-hour job, I pay them $20 for out-of-town stores.
Listen, we do strips on stores too, and at that time we were doing strips. And
What does that
would,
mean?
we would strip and wax the floor, okay? And
Yeah.
it would take all night. I mean, we would start at 9 o'clock and might not end until 5 or 6.
Oh, you get paid by the hour, am I correct, sir?
No, by the job.
He's saying he's working all night and he's only being paid $9. How does it work when they have to work those hours?
If they do the overnight strips, they're paid anywhere from $60 to $100 per night. It's piecework. We're not at one particular place all the time. We move from store to store to store.
Do you have
So
any of your
I'm
pay
paid
stubs
per
with you?
square foot.
No, ma'am.
Did you bring any of your pay stubs with you
I
from the
don't
time that
have
you
any
worked
of
with
them.
her? Why?
Because I couldn't find them, because I just moved and they're lost.
Well, that's unfortunate. How are you going to prove that you were working all night and only getting paid $9 or $10 an hour? Because, I mean, you've basically come into court and admitted that you and your coworker were forging work orders.
No, my
got
coworker
paid.
should be here, not me.
Oh, no, you were complicit. You were complicit in the operation, sir.
Oh, no.
That's why so you're both responsible.
Oh, no.
Because you were aware that he was forging the documents and that the two of you were getting paid. What happened with his coworker? Did you take any money out of his coworker's
I
check?
did. Exactly half of what I'm suing him for. He is still in my employ
Did you keep
today.
his last check?
I did.
How much is it? How much was that?
$506.40.
Okay, so why do you say he still owes you for half if you kept his last check?
Prior to winter setting in this past year, 2014, Troy had no transportation at all. I allowed Troy to drive one of the company vehicles back and forth. He kept my vehicle 24/7 under the agreement that he would take care of all mechanical, check the oil, transmission fluid, and if anything were to happen to my vehicle, that he would take care of it. He blew the engine in my van.
Well, I mean, what year is the van?
It was 1998. So what I did, I said, I'll pay $500 of it to trade to get another van. You pay the rest.
Why is that his fault? How do I know that the engine was perfectly fine?
We took it to
before
the
he
shop.
got it?
He wasn't putting oil in it. There was no oil in it. That's all they put on here was the engine blown.
It's a 17-year-old van with probably 100,000 miles on it, and the engine goes out. That's kind of expected. And he's traveling out of town.
And they charged me $1,500 for the van I wrecked.
So he had an accident.
He did.
So do you not have insurance to cover that?
I only have liability insurance.
So you need to have more insurance than that. If you own a company and you have employees that you're sending all over the place, more than an hour away, why do you only have liability? So if they have an accident, it's their responsibility. They have to pay out of pocket for damages?
They do.
That's the agreement?
They sign for one of my
And he's only
handbooks.
making $9 an hour. Maybe I understand why you're hiring ex-cons. These are only people who would take the job.
Yeah.
It's a terrible job.
Yeah.
You're suing for $584 loss of revenue, but you kept his last check, which was $506. So shouldn't you really be suing for $78?
I took the $508, his last check, and applied towards the purchase of that new van.
We're not
a
doing
used
that.
van.
I'm not ordering him to buy a new van. You're underinsured.
But this was our agreement. He said that he would pay for the
I'm
vehicle.
not enforcing the agreement. An engine blows out in a van, and you're not telling me that he did anything other than drive the van.
Correct.
You submitted evidence to show the loss of revenue, but you didn't submit the evidence to show that you actually kept his last paycheck, ma'am. The only thing he owes you is $78. $78, just before the plaintiff. Your counterclaim's dismissed, sir. She kept your last paycheck because you stole from the company. Just before the plaintiff.
don't feel it was right. It wasn't proper because the employee had signed a contract stating that if there had been any issues with mechanics on my equipment as well as my vehicles, that they would be held responsible for it.
I mean, I did work for the money, and they should have gave me my paycheck, or at least a percentage of it.
Plaintiff Jared Miller says the defendant is refusing to pay him back for a loan to start a barbershop. He's suing for an unpaid loan. Defendant Maurice Pope says he doesn't owe because Jared is a loan shark who was given free haircuts for 3 years. He's countersuing for unpaid haircut services.
Jared Miller,
Yes, ma'am.
you are suing the defendant Maurice Pope
Yes, ma'am.
for $5,065 you say he owes you for an unpaid loan. And
Yes,
you are
ma'am.
countersuing, sir, for $3,600 for unpaid haircut services.
Yes, Judge.
Now, Mr. Miller, I looked at your paperwork. You say that you loaned the defendant $6,400 back in 2011 with a 40% interest rate. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and that he only paid back a
ridiculous.
portion of that amount and he still owes a portion, and that's what you're suing for?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, I looked at the paperwork from your jurisdiction, and did at some point, was there a court date on this case prior
No.
to today?
No.
You're not aware of another court date prior to today?
No, I'm not aware of a court
Are
date.
you? Did you go to court on this case prior to today?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
And what happened?
He was served by the sheriff, and he never responded to that within the allotted time frame.
Were you served? Were you served by the sheriff and notified that there was a court case?
Yes, I was, but I never received a
But my question
a date.
was, did you know that there was a court case against you prior to today?
Well, yeah, I had that
So when you were
discussion.
served, you were given paperwork and a court date, right?
Yes.
And did you go to court on that date?
No, I didn't
Why?
go. There was no court date on it. It was just, it was a letter stating that Mr. Miller was suing me for this amount of money, and that was it. It wasn't no court date on there.
Coming up on Judge Faith, a previous decision may impact the court's ability to hear the case.
A few days ago, I was down at the courthouse picking up paperwork that I needed for this to come here today.
A default judgment was entered against the defendant. Isn't that right, Mr. Miller?
Plaintiff Jared Miller says he gave Maurice a loan to start a barbershop. He's suing for an unpaid loan. Defendant Maurice Pope says he doesn't owe because Jared was paid back in free haircuts. He's countersuing for unpaid haircut services.
You might want to go back and look at your paperwork because you showed up to court, right? In your jurisdiction in Georgia?
Well, I filed, Your Honor, first of all, thank you for allowing me to be here today. I filed the paperwork, and he was given the 45 days to respond, and he didn't respond within that time frame, so I filed my default judgment. And that's where we're at right now.
And you were awarded a judgment by the court?
A few days ago, I was down at the courthouse picking up paperwork that I needed for this to come here today, and the deputy clerk told me that the paperwork's going through for me, to get my funds.
Right, and according to this paperwork, you requested a default judgment and you did not show up for court.
I didn't know anything about that.
When you get served with a lawsuit, you have a certain number of days to contest the lawsuit. And you can do that in a number of ways. One of those ways is to respond to the lawsuit when it's filed against you. If you do nothing, then a default judgment can be entered against you. And what happened is you didn't respond within a certain number of days. He went back to the court because you didn't respond and asked them for a default judgment.
Susie, what was explained to me was that in 45 days that I would get a court date. That's what was explained to me from the sheriff that handed me the paper. I didn't know anything about that responding because I would have responded to that. That's, 40%, that's ridiculous. I would have responded to that.
Well, no, you're talking about the loan now,
Yeah, the whole loan
where
thing,
you agreed to a 40% interest rate. I do agree that is ridiculous, but I don't know that I can discuss the merit of the case, sir, because according to the paperwork here, you requested a default judgment and that's been granted. Let me look at the papers. And now you want me to come in and litigate this case for you.
I just was told by the deputy clerk that it's still waiting from the judge and that they're just going to sign up. The judge will sign off on the paperwork, and then I can go about however I need to get the funds from Mr. Pope. So the judge has not said
Can
yes.
I see a copy of your of the default request for default judgment, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Juan, would you give that to me?
Maybe it's the verbiage being used, Your Honor. I filed the default judgment. All I have is the original paperwork from the civil claim.
Okay. Okay, so you're saying as of now, the judge has not entered a default judgment. You've requested it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here's what you did based on all the paperwork I've reviewed. In your jurisdiction, you went down and you requested a default judgment because he did not respond to the complaint that you were served with. You might want to go down to the courthouse, sir, and do some research, because he's requested a default judgment against you. And right now, all he needs right now is the judge's stamp of approval. And with this default judgment, you will owe $5,065. He's already requested it because you didn't respond in a timely manner, according to the paperwork I'm looking at, sir. And so all he's waiting on now is a stamp by the court. And you're clueless. You don't know about any of this.
Because when I was served,
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
I cannot now litigate and hear your arguments on this case because you've already requested a default judgment, and this is in the jurisdiction of your court, okay? So what you have to do now is go back and get your stamp of approval from the judge and enforce the judgment against you, sir. You appear to not know anything about what's going on. I don't know why, I don't know how, but your name is all over this paperwork that you did not respond. So I know that you're a litigant here, and the right person was served. So I can't hear your case. You have to go back to your local jurisdiction.
Well, I appreciate getting to meet you. Very beautiful.